Okay. Tuples are collection of objects, as I told you, like your lists. Okay. And they are ordered type. Ordered type means we can easily access using the indexes, and they are immutable. And the major difference between your list and your tuples are that tuples cannot be modified, cannot be edited, okay, cannot be changed, you can say. So this is the main difference. And of course, there's a difference in how we declare variables which are of tuple types. So let us create, I'll show you the syntax of how to create a tuple. My screen is visible, so let us create a tuple now. I'll use a variable called T1, okay, T1 equal to, okay, in round brackets, I can directly make use of the values. So I can give some values here, say 4, 5, okay. Now, the major difference, if you remember, in list, we used square brackets, whereas in tuples, we make use of the round bracket. Okay, there's no other keyword. We have to directly make use of the round brackets and put some elements in it, separated by a comma. One more thing, it can be a mixture of different types. It need not be, only numbers. Like I can declare one more tuple here, T2, and in this I can assign, say, some characters, say A, B, and C. Let us put C. So this is another tuple. Thirdly, I can also have a empty tuple. So if I want to have an empty tuple, I just write T equal to and the round brackets. Okay, so T is now a tuple now, but an empty tuple. Okay, there's one major difference. Like in list, whenever we had to assign a single value, what we used to do, like L equal to, okay, and I can use the square bracket and give a value here, 2. So this becomes a list with a single element in it. There's no problem with this. But if I want to assign a single value or only one element in a tuple, I can write, say, T3 equal to, in the round bracket, okay, I can put the value. Let us put 50 here. But this is going to generate an error because the syntax for tuple, if I want to assign a single element, is always a value followed by a comma. So I need to give a comma at the end of the first element. But if I have multiple elements, like on line number 9, where I had 5 elements, okay, the last element was not terminated by a comma. Whereas on line number 13, if you see, I have only one value. And if I have only one element in the tuple, okay, you have to include the comma at the end. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now let me display the values. It's simple, like printing. Give the print statement, the function. Let me display T1, okay, and we'll execute this. Here you can see I got the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there are no errors in any of the statements here. But let me remove this comma, okay, and run this. Fine. You can see I'll display the value of T3. Okay, it's working, but might be the version has an issue here. Okay, in the older version, comma was compulsory. Now without comma also it's working here. So might be there is some changes here. We'll check this again. Okay. But remember, after giving a single value, please include a comma if there's an error while assigning a single element in your tuple.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Try including comma and then run now.
Okay. There's a comma here. I'll execute this one. Here you can see I got the tuple here. Fine. Now there's a difference between both of them here. You can see this number is without the round brackets. Okay, whenever there is a tuple, the tuple is actually displayed in round brackets. You can see this one line here where we have displayed T1, where we got round brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so if I do not have a round bracket, it is giving me the number. It's not a tuple. And in case of a comma, it's a tuple. Even though we are not getting the error, but we need to check the type, whether it is treating that as a tuple or not. Okay, so when we use the type function, we'll see how to check the type of the variable. Okay, any doubts here further? Please remember, give a comma whenever you have a single element in a tuple. Now, to access the individual elements in a tuple, as we did in list, we can use the square bracket and the index position. Your first index position is always 0. So if I want to access the first element in tuple T2, okay, I can write it like this, T2 square bracket 0. And I want to display the value. I put a comma, T2 square bracket 0. Okay, so this is going to access the value T2, and here you can see I got a single character A, which is the first element in my tuple T2. Okay, I can also access a range of values. Okay, so I'll make a change here. I'll write print. Let us say I want to access the first 3 numbers in T1. Okay, so I'll write T1 square bracket and I'll put the value. Let us put the index position from 1 to 3. Okay, colon 3. Complete the square bracket, comma, T1, 1, colon 3. So we are giving the range from 1 to 3. It is going to display me the value. Okay, and I get 2 and 3 as the answer. Okay, you can see this index position 1 and this is the index position 3. Okay, 2. Okay, as you remember, even in list, the last index position is not considered while displaying the value. Similar here also, if I want the third element as well, or the value in the third index position, then this number instead of 3 should be 4. Okay, keep this in mind. Secondly, if I want to display, okay, from the end, if you remember, we had used negative values, minus sign. So if I give print, I'll directly write it here, T1, okay, square bracket, say minus 1. Okay, let us run this one. Okay, so minus 1, the last value is 5. You can see this 5, it is getting displayed here. So negative value will be used if I want to access the tuples from the last position or from the right hand side. Okay, and all the other slicing options which we saw in list is also applicable here. Now, if I want to make changes to my tuple, let us say I want to change the value which is there at index position 2. Okay, so T1 square bracket 2. Okay, I want to assign a new value here. Let us say the value is say 25. Okay, now as I told you, tuples are immutable. So if I run this line, whether it is going to add or change the value, it is not, because here you can see tuple object does not support item assignment. Okay, so it is not possible to make changes to your tuple once we have created it. Okay, so errors will occur if you're trying to manipulate or change or edit your tuples. Now, the other way is, if suppose I want to add 2 tuples together, okay, as we did in list, I can make use of the arithmetic plus operator, but if I use it with tuples, it is going to combine the 2 tuples. So let us have a tuple called T3 again. I'll make the changes T3 equal to, okay, T1. Okay, T1 is my tuple with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm using the plus operator to combine these 2 tuples T2. Okay, and I'll print it here down. So print new tuple, I can say. Put a comma and I display T3. Fine. Let me execute this. Fine. Here you can see new tuple, and I got the first three elements. I got the first five elements from T1, and T2 also got attached to it. So what plus operator is doing here, it is not performing any arithmetic operation, but it is combining two tuples together, okay, and then storing it in T3. Can we have T1 equal to T1 plus T2? We can, but remember, what will happen is actually a new object or new tuple will be created by the name T1. Okay. Even in this case where I am using T3, we already have T3 here. So what happens here is T3, a new object of tuple T3 is getting created, and the two tuples are combined together and stored in T3. Okay. So we are not in a way editing the tuple. We are creating a new tuple here. Now, if you remember, in a list, we could use the del function to delete the elements from the list. Similar function is available. So we have a del function. I can make use of del, or you can say delete. Okay. And I can give the name of the tuple. Let me give T3 here. Okay. And execute it. And I'll also display it here to check whether it is really related. So T3, I'll run this line. Okay, no problem. Now, if I try to display the values in T3 now, it should give me an error because T3 has been deleted. Clear? So if you want to remove the whole tuple, I can make use of the del function. Okay. The other functions which are available, like we had in list, we have the length function. So len is the length function, which can be used to find how many elements do I have in the tuple. Okay, so let me use the print function here. So I'll give print, okay, length, okay, equal to, let me put length is comma, len into bracket T1. Okay, so it displays the length of T1. I'll execute this. Okay, you can see length of T1 is shown as 5. So there are 5 elements which can be shown here. Fine. Now, can I use the multiplication sign for which is a repetition operator in case of tuples here, which we used in list as well. So I'll create T4. Okay. Let me make use of a string now. Let us say I want a string hi. Okay. And multiply this by 3. What should happen here? A tuple should be created. Okay. I'll run this and I'll print it as well. Print T4. Let us execute this and display it. You can see this. We have a tuple T4 with hi written in. But is it a tuple or is it a string? Anyone? Is it a tuple or it's a string? Remember, whenever I display a tuple, it has to be displayed in the round brackets and not like this, which I've got here. Okay. And this is not a tuple. This is a string. If it is a tuple, I need to include the round bracket. So can I put the round brackets and then do the multiplication? Okay. Let us run this line now and then display it. Any changes? No. The previous one where we had used only high in single quote. Okay, that was a string. Clear? If you want to create a tuple, it has to be in round brackets. So even if I change this in double quotes, I can put this in double quotes. It is one and the same thing. Fine? Single quote or double quote, no problem. But inside a round bracket and not only in double quotes high. Now the other operator which we used with list was the membership operator. The membership operator is which one? Which is the membership operator? The in operator and not in operator. Okay. So if I want to check, if I have an element, let us say if I want to check whether 3 is in the tuple T1, okay, I can use this in membership operator, execute this, I'll get true or false depending on whether the number is there in the tuple or not. Clear? One more function is available in tuple whenever we want to compare two tuples. Okay, there is a function called CMP, okay, which is also available in list, but it is available for a lower version of Python. So it is not anymore supported in the higher versions of Python. So if I use compare or CMP T1, comma T2, okay, it might generate error here. As soon as I type, you can see this undefined name CMP. Okay. Even though those who are using the lower version of Python, like the version of 2 and below that, okay, if they try to make use of this function CMP, it will work. Whereas in the higher version, it is not going to work. To compare two tuples, we need to convert the tuple or even the list into a set, and then we have to compare it. Okay, so this won't be possible in the higher version. So I'll just delete this command here. But remember, CMP is one of the functions which are available in the lower version of Python to compare two tuples. Fine. The other function which we have, like we did the max function to find the maximum in a tuple. So I can use max into round bracket. I can give T1. Okay, this should display me the maximum value in the tuple. Okay. Similarly, we have the min function min, which will help me to get the minimum value. Okay, so I'll just quickly print this out. Min into bracket. I can give. Let us give T1 again and run this one. Okay, you can see 1 is there. What if I give T2 where I have only alphabets? Whether it will work? Okay, so I give min and I give T2. Okay, and execute this line. So we have small a as the minimum value, and if I use max and T2 again, what is the maximum value? max. Okay, and I run this line. Okay, I got C. I'll make a change in this here. I'll put Z here. Okay, and run this line. Come back here, run this line here. Now you can see Z or Z is your maximum value. So it is comparing the ASCII values of this alphabets or characters. Okay, and depending on which one is maximum, that character is getting displayed. Okay. Now there's one more function, and the last function which we'll be doing in tuples is if I want to convert a list. Let us say I have a list by the name list1. Okay, and in this I have some characters and some numbers Okay, and I want to convert this into a tuple. So I can do that by using the function. I'll use T4 here. T4 equal to tuple is the function name into round brackets, the name of the list which I've just created, list1. Okay, and let me print this down here. Print T4. Okay, so let us execute this line. List gets created, then the tuple, and here I get the tuple. Okay, so even if you have a list and you want to convert that into a tuple, you can do that using this function tuple. Okay, and please remember, when do you have to use tuples and when to use list. If there are problems where you will be modifying the data or modifying the elements, contents in the list or in your array, you can say, make use of the list and not tuple. Whereas if you have a requirement where you are not going to make any changes, okay, or any deletion, or you can say addition to your list or tuple, that time you make use of the tuples only, because that is the major difference. One more difference is lists are much faster compared to tuples. Okay. So there might be more functions if when we come and to the topic tuple, or when we are writing some program, we'll see more functions which are available in tuple. Okay. Let us write a for loop to display all the values. So if I want to use a for loop to display the values from the tuple, I can write for x in, say, T4, because that's the one which I've just created. Okay, and I can print each element, say x, and let me put it on the same line. So end equal to, and I'll give a space. Okay, so let us execute this for loop. What has happened? T4 and unexpected end of while passing. Okay, so let me check it out. T4 is already been created. Okay, let us run this whole thing. Okay, here you can see we have got the answer now. Might be it was not recognizing T4. Okay, we got the values A, B, okay, 23, 45, and 67. Okay, so you can use the membership operator as in the for loop and display the values. Okay, quickly I'll introduce you to the other sequence type, which is your dictionary. Okay, and in dictionaries, like, we have two things are given to you. It is a combination of a value and a key. Okay, your keys are unique values, whereas values can be duplicate. It can be any type. The data type hardly matters. Okay, and while creating a dictionary, we have to make use of the curly brackets. Okay, so I'll quickly declare one small variable, say D1 equal to, and as I told you, your dictionaries are created using curly brackets. So in the curly bracket, the first parameter is the key. So my key name here is name, followed by a colon and the value. Okay, let us put a value, some name here, say Atul. Okay, now separate this by a comma if I have multiple keys. So this comma, so this completes one data for me. So your data is nothing but, or one element is nothing but a combination of key followed by the value. Okay, and it is separated by a colon in between. The second I can give, let us say age. So I give your age as my second key. And here I'll give a numerical value. Let us give 22. So now in this dictionary, I have two keys. One key, the first key is name, and the second key is age. Okay. And the values are associated with that particular key by using the colon in front of it. Okay. Now, if I want to access the keys or the values which are there, I can use the print function. And let us say I want to display the name. Okay. So D1, I can give in the square bracket the key name. Okay. And remember, it has to be enclosed in single quotes. Okay. The key. Then let me put a colon here, comma, and I want to display the name D1, square bracket, single quotes, name. Okay. Let us run this. So I'll run this line, then this one, and here you can see I'm getting the answer as Atul on my screen. Okay. Please remember, whenever you want to display the value which is stored in the key, I need to give the key in single quotes. Okay. I can also make use of the age key and display the age. Okay. Now, can I change the age? If I want to change the age now, let us say I have to change it to say 22, say 25. So I can give D1, give the key name in single quotes, use the equal to operator, and I can put 25 here. Okay. And when I print this, I'll directly display it right now. We are running short of time, so I'll display this directly here. Let me execute this 2 lines. Okay. Here you can see 25 is the new value. Now, if I want to add new keys to this, I can directly write D1 in the square bracket. Let us write the name of his college. So, or school, whatever you call it. So I'll put school. Okay. It has to be in single quotes. And I'll put YMCA. Fine. And I can print this here. Print D1 school. Fine. Let us run this line number 56 and 57. Okay. So you can see the output. So whenever you want to add a new key, you directly make use of the equal to operator, assign the values, create a new key. And if you want to delete a key, like we used the del function before also, even in dictionary, I can make use of del, the name, say the dictionary name, followed by, suppose I want to delete a key. Let us say I want to delete this school which I've just created. So I can give this statement, run this, okay? And now when I want to print this line, let us go up here and print this line. Okay, it is going to give me an error. You can see it is, because it's already deleted, it's not available anymore. Okay. Now, if I want to remove all the values or all the entries in the dictionary, there's a function called clear, which is available. So D1, I can write clear, D1 dot clear, and the round, empty round brackets. It is going to remove all the entries from the dictionary. Okay. And if I want to delete the whole dictionary itself, then I can use del again and I can put D1. Okay. This will delete my full dictionary. Now, there are some properties which are available for a dictionary. First of all, you cannot have a duplicate key in the dictionary. Okay. Even if you put it, let us say by chance you have put 2 keys with the same name. The one which is the last key, that will get the preference, and the first key will be overwritten. Okay. So try not to duplicate the key values. Whereas your value for the key can be a duplicate value. There's no problem with that. Secondly, your keys must be immutable. Okay. That means you can use your strings, immutable numbers or tuples. Right? These are immutable, the keys. Whereas you cannot have a list as a key. Okay. You cannot have a list as a key. Secondly, there's no restriction, value restriction in dictionary. Okay. Either you can have the inbuilt Python objects or standard objects, or you can also have some user-defined objects as a part of your dictionary. Okay. Then what we can do is there are some functions which are available. Let us make use of some functions and see how we can use these functions to display the values from the dictionary. Okay. The first function is like we had done before also, the length function, len. Okay. Let us write the length function. I'll use a print statement directly here. So print, I'll write length. And let us make use of some format specifier like we used to do in C programming. Okay. So here I am using a format specifier which indicates that there is a parameter which I have to pass so that the value from that parameter will be displayed at this position. Okay. And the parameters are given using the % sign. Okay. There's no comma after the double quotes. We give the % sign, and in round brackets, if you want, you can pass the parameter. Now in this case, because I have only a single parameter, that is a function, I'll make use of the length function. Into round bracket, I have D1 as my dictionary. So I can execute this line and check whether I get the length. Okay. Here you can see the length is getting displayed, which is 2. Because I have not deleted this, even though I have given the commands here, del D1, I have not executed this command, and that's the reason I'm not getting the values. If I execute this and then give this print function here, a length function, it is going to give me an error. Okay, so let me delete this del options from here. Okay, by chance if something goes wrong and I execute the whole command, it will not work. Okay, the next function is, as I told you, there's one function called type, which tells me the type of the variable. Okay, so if I give print and I want to know the variable type, so I write variable type in this round bracket, square double quotes, okay, colon. Let me use again %s now because I'm going to print a string. %d is for integers, %s is used for your string values. So I can use %s, do not give a comma after double quotes, give the % sign, okay? And either you put in round brackets if you have multiple, you can say parameters or the values that has to be displayed as a string in the print statement, then you can use the round brackets, okay? And separate the parameters with a comma, okay? Now in this case, I have a single function which I'll be using, that is the type function. So type, and I can make use of D1 here. It will tell me the type of data or variable. Let us execute this line, okay? Now you can see this, it's of type dictionary, DICT, okay? That's my variable type D1. Clear? So this is one of the functions. Now you can also display your dictionary in as a string. So if I want to display all the values which are there in my dictionary as a string, so you can do that. The equivalent string. Okay, again I'm using %s here. %s. And after the double quotes, %str is the function which I'll be using to convert the dictionary into a string. Okay, this completes. And here you can see I'm getting the equivalent string. And remember, Because it's a dictionary, it will be displayed in curly brackets. Okay, so these are my two keys and the two values. Okay, so these are some few functions. There are few more. If I want to make a copy of my dictionary, I can make use of a function called copy. Okay, so let us create one more duplicate copy of D1. So I'll write D2 equal to D1 dot copy. Okay, it's very simple function. And now if I want to display print D2, okay, execute both these commands. And here you can see D2 has been copied, D1 has been copied in D2. Okay, we can also, create a dictionary from a string. So if suppose I have a string here, let us say I have a string S and I have some values in it. So let us create a tuple. Instead of a string, I'll write name, then age, and let us put another key, gender. Okay, if suppose I have a tuple here, and from this I want to create a dictionary, then I can make use of the variable D here. I'm taking D equal to, and the function here is from keys. Okay, the function is from keys. Let us use D equal to or D1. Let us create D1 only. D1 equal to D1 dot from keys. Okay, and the round bracket will have the tuple which I want to pass it. Okay, if I execute this now, okay, and S is not defined, so I have to execute S as well. And now, and when I print D1, okay, I'll get the three keys now: name, age, and gender. Now, because we have not given the values to this key, what is happening? Only the keys are getting created, and we have the default value as none. Okay, if suppose you want to initialize this keys with some values, you can do that as well. What you can do is give a comma after this. Okay, and let us say I assign it with, because it's name, let us put 0. Okay, and I want to execute this. Let us execute this one. Okay, and when I run this now, here you can see all the keys have been assigned to 0. This is the default value. Right? Basically, because we have different types, data types available in a key, do not initialize it to one value, because once you do that, again, you need to go and change it individually. So none is without the default value, it's fine. So just use the function called from keys and pass the parameter. It can be any type. It can be a string. It can be a tuple. Okay. It cannot be a list. Okay. Do not use a list in this case. Now let us use some other function. Let me use a function called get here. If I want to get the value from the key, I can make use of the get function. Let us use it in the print function. So print, I use value polling, and let me use %d here, %d. Okay, then comes your %sign, and it is D1. So I'll use from D1 dot get into round brackets. Now I want to get the value of a particular key, so I'll pass the key here. Now, because D1 doesn't have any values right now, so age, let us use D2. So D2, which we had copied that, we had copied D2. So, and age will be A capital. Okay, let us run this one. You can see age is 25, which I get the value. So the value of the key age can be accessed using the get function. Okay. The next function is we can also check whether we have a key called has key. Okay, so there's a function. Let us use this here. Print. Okay, I'll use, say, key. We had got gender, or we had age. So I'll use age here. Okay, and we can say equal to %s. I'm using a string here. Okay, not age. %d will be, I'll put it as integer. So %d. Okay, %sign d2 dot has underscore key. Okay, and the string str is nothing but the key which I have to give. So in single quotes, I'll give the key here. Okay, execute this one. The object has no attributes, has key, the round bracket age. The age key is there on, it is there, 22, we had just displayed age. Okay. It's not supporting this attribute at all as key. Let me put a space and check it out. The current line is this one. Okay, so I'll check it out why it's not supporting. Might be there's some issue here. So when we come back next, we'll check this has key option, or is it has keys? Let me check it out. Has keys. Okay, it's not working. Okay, fine, forget it. When we come back, I'll check whether it is supported in the older version or the new version. Okay. Then let us, if I want to display all the pairs of the items, I can make use of the function item. So print into round bracket. Let us use d2 dot items. We have that function items. Okay, and run this one. And you can see this, all the items in the dictionary are getting displayed. Fine. Next is I can also display the keys, all the keys. I can use d2 dot keys. Okay, and run this one. Okay. You can see the two keys, name and age, that are displayed here. Okay, you can also make use of the values if I want only the values. You can convert this into a list as well, or you can also update it. Okay, let us say I want to create one more list. Let us say D1, because D1 is having nothing in it. So I'll create D1 equal to, in curly bracket, I'll put the key as gender. Okay, colon. Okay, and I'll put here the gender as male. Right, I'll execute this line. Now I want to add this dictionary which I had created to D2. Okay, so I can write D2 dot. The function which I'll be using here is the update function. Okay, so we have the update function into round brackets. I give D1. Okay, I'll execute this and I'll print it out. Right, you can see this gender has been added. So we will stop here. So let me stop.